Curtis said you're the man of the book.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Henry County School Board to order. At this time, we'll have roll call.
Mr. Oliver?
Here.
Dr. Duvall?
Here.
Ms. Flanagan? Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Milman?
Here.
Dr. Sandbaugh?
Here.
And Mr. Zane?
Here.
At this time, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. We approve the agenda as presented. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous. At this time, we'd like to do our usual welcome to our visitors. Always happy to have people that want to come out and see how we do things. Come back again. We enjoy having you. At this time, we ask you all to stand and join us in invocation, Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation will be led by Mr. Alker. Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Martin.
Let us pray.
Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity that we have to start a new school year. Bless the teachers, bless the students. Help us as those that make decisions that we would be in your care and keeping. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have public comment period, and we have one person that's signed up. That person is Ms. Dorothy Carter. As usual, matters presented by the public. This is a time for public comment. That means we are here to listen to you, not to engage in a question and answer period or a debate. Upon arrival at the podium, please state your name, your subject matter, and the district in which you live. By coming to the podium, you have agreed that you will exhibit respect for the board and its members, as well as the staff and students of Henry County Public School. You will receive the same consideration from the board. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Dorothy Carter from the Reed Creek District, and I just want to tell you that on behalf of HCEA, we are ready to go back to school. I hear a lot of contentment across the county. I hear a lot of excitement. The only thing I'm being talked to about at this point are salaries, and we're thankful for the 2 steps from last year. But we will be, I'm informing you, I know you can only do what the Board of Supervisors gives you money to work with, but we will be talking to the Board of Supervisors about restoring our steps in the coming year. I think there are good reasons for this, not just monetarily for the people here in Henry County, but across the state we have a teacher shortage, and I see this morning on our website we still have positions open. I know last week I was told in Stafford County there were 109 positions alone. And of course some of these schools are later starting than we are, but that should give us an advantage, and at this point we shouldn't have any openings. We need an extra advantage. We need to get our salaries back where they belong. So that will be HCEA's message for this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Along that line, I was also reading in the paper that Virginia is ranked 6th best in the nation as far as school systems. So I want to thank all of you out there for helping make that possible. At this time, awards and recognition. United Way Campaign Award.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As a member of the United Way Board of Directors, I'm pleased to share with you that again, Henry County Public Schools earned several recognitions at the annual banquet this summer. And we had representatives from several of our departments here today so that we can recognize their achievement in increasing their giving, either 10 or 20% in the last campaign year. So this morning we would like to recognize Henry County Schools Maintenance Department for increasing their giving 10% over the last year. So I'll ask Mr. Scott to come forward. And we're going to have the group take a photo together with you, Mr. Milner, at the end. So you get to be first and stand by yourself for a moment. And these groups increased their giving 20% over the last year. The Bus Garage, Axton Elementary School, Bassett High School, Campbell Court Elementary School, FC Middle School, and Laurel Park Middle School. And our schools and departments hold lots of different fundraisers for their staff, including things like Jeans Days, baked goods sales, lots of different competitions amongst their staff members. So we're very pleased to be able to support our community in this way. Things like the Dolly Parton Imagination Library are supported by our giving each year. And the campaign is about ready to begin again. So we're excited to see our achievements for this year as well. So if you all will huddle really closely together, the podium is very close to you today.
Oh, God, yeah. Robert E. The day I've been talking to him.
Oh, that would be good, yes.
You're just a friendly, down-to-earth girl. That's good.
All right.
The number of bus drivers is way down again. And they're all getting up in years. You don't have the bus drivers 20, 30, 40 years up here.
Additionally, this morning you noticed that our stage is decorated in a little bit of a different way than you usually see it. One of the classes at Explore Camp this summer was BMX bike exploration, and the students actually built these bikes that you see in front of you. The kits came with a helmet, several different types of tires, and the students worked in teams to put them together. We are pleased to be able to donate these bicycles that have been built and tested by our students back to children in our community. And we're going to do that through the Southside Survivor Response Center, formerly known as Citizens Against Family Violence, where mothers and children who have been in dangerous home life situations can come and get assistance to return back to the community with the help that they need. This morning, Warren Rogers, who is the head of that center, was unable to be with us. So I have Phyllis Mead, who was our Explore Camp director here, and we would like to take a photo of Mr. Milner, Dr. Cotton, and Ms. Mead with the bicycles, and we will be delivering this to the response center. If you just want to stand up on the stage. And if you all want to stand to that side, we can get the board members in the photo with us. So if you stand right there.
You sure you don't want to ride?
He's not riding on the stage.
As we move along, the next item would be proposed revision to school board policies.
Good morning.
Good morning, there.
This month's proposed policy revisions reflect efforts to bring policies into compliance with new or existing laws or regulations, and they have been revised, or they have been revised for procedural or editorial reasons. As normal, you can find them on board docs under the featured tab Policies Under Consideration, and I'm just going to provide a summary of some of the highlights. The following changes have been prompted by the amendment or enactment of Virginia Code or federal regulations. Policy BBFA, Conflict of Interests and Disclosure of Economic Interests, has been revised in a number of ways. It's been updated to reflect revisions to the definition of gift, exceptions to prohibited conduct regarding contracts, as well as new information relating to deadlines, coverage periods, and release of disclosure forms. Revisions are also being made to include a change in the due date for the annual disclosure statement of personal interests, and that date is changing from January 15th to February 1st of each year. Policy BDD, electronic participation in meetings from remote locations, is being updated to limit the number of meetings in which a school board member may participate electronically because of a personal matter, and that limit will be to 2 meetings per year rather than 2 meetings or 25% of the board's meetings, whichever was fewer. Policy BDDA, notification of school board meetings, is being updated to include the requirements that the school board is required to post a notice of regular meetings on the school division website at least 3 working days prior to the meeting, as well as to make copies of the proposed agendas for the meeting and make those available for public inspection at the same time documents are furnished to the school board. Policy BDDC, agenda preparation and dissemination, like BDA, also is being updated to clarify that the board's proposed agenda must be made available for public inspection at the same time as it is furnished to members of the board. Policy EEA, student transportation services, actually reflects repeal of a recently enacted federal regulation which did require divisions to have agreements on resolving disputes over costs incurred in transporting foster students between their school of origin and their residence. Policies IGBC, parent and family engagement, IGBF, English learners, and policy JECA, admission of homeless children, are all being updated to reflect revisions, including title changes to comply with mandates by the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA. Policy KBA-E, rights and responsibilities, is actually a new policy outlining the rights of requesters as well as the responsibilities of the school division under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And policy LBD, home instruction, reflects regulatory changes that require school boards to make certain specified tests, including tests like the AP tests, the preliminary SAT tests, and pre-ACT examinations available to students receiving home instruction, as well as to notify students receiving home instruction and their parents about the availability of those tests. In addition, policies GB, equal employment opportunity and non-discrimination, JB, equal educational opportunity and non-discrimination, and GBA and JFHA, prohibition against harassment and discrimination, are being updated just to reflect new alternate compliance officers. The policy revisions have all been verified for legality by the Virginia School Boards Association, and we will be presenting those to you for approval at the next school board meeting in September. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Anyone have any questions, Ms. Landon?
Under policy IGAH about family life education, we had changed the way we do the sign up for that under InfoSnap, and I think changed it so it's an opt-in. In the policy, we talk about an opt-out procedure. Do we need to update the wording of that policy?
I will need to look at that.
Okay.
Really, the way we've looked at that is the minimum is that you have to have passive consent, but we've opted to do active as a school division. So we go above and beyond that requirement. So but we'll look at it and see. But we feel like we're that's the minimum that we have to do, and we're doing more than the minimum.
You're saying the policy reflects the minimum?
That's my understanding. I'm looking at it now. It looks like in the past it's been more of a passive consent, right, meaning that you have to tell us if you don't want to be involved. It's an opt-out, and what we've done is an opt-in.
Okay. I just didn't know if the policy needed to more accurately reflect what we're doing since we changed it or not.
Yeah. We certainly can, but as a practice, we've kind of looked at it as that we're going above and beyond the minimum.
Okay. Thank you.
How would we go about, or what type of procedure do we use to be sure that homeschool students are aware of the availability dates of ACT, PSAT, SAT test? Do we have all those addresses in some way?
Mr. Scott is communicating with them, so I'll ask him to share that with you.
Good morning. We have every year around August 1st through August 15th, we have a lot of communication with the homeschool community. That's when they're sending in end of the year reports and making their requests to continue to homeschool those students. And in those mailings every year, as we're sending out the letter from Dr. Cotton that says he concurs with their request to homeschool, we add a sheet of paper to that letter that this year it will name the tests that are available for those students, as well as deadlines for when they need to sign up or show interest in that, and information where they can find information about the cost of those tests.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Lander.
Thank you.
Next, we have an update on Meadowview Elementary. Mr. Scott.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm pleased to share a few updates on what's going on with Meadowview Elementary. We had a progress meeting yesterday, so a few of these updates I'll ad-libbed a little bit to it. But the contractors are working on the field, all the dirt that'll go in for the soccer field along the front of the school. That's kind of taking shape if you've been by there and seen that. All the trades continue to work on the dining room and the kitchen rough end, along with piping under the tunnel. There's a tunnel that leads from the mechanical room towards the gym and towards Wing B, so we can keep all of our piping underground, and it doesn't have to be above the ceiling for the major water piping, hydronic piping on it. The conduit along the car rider entrance is in progress. That'll be for lights that'll light up the car rider entrance, plus fiber work that'll provide the internet to the school. The brick continues on the entire building, and as of yesterday, we were told in about 2 weeks we'll be roughly about 90% complete on all the brick work. So that was pretty exciting to hear. The window installation continues on Wing B. The steel roof trusses are set for the foyer area. If you've seen that, it's really taken shape on the foyer entrance there. Mobilizing for the curb and gutter work is the next big thing to begin work here pretty soon. And of course the retaining wall, which we're using for the crossings for the car rider entrance and the bus loop is underway as well. Any questions about anything else going on?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Scott.
you.
Next, we have our consent agenda. Item A is approval of minutes from the July 13, 2017 regular meeting. Item B, approval of bills for payment. And item C, approval of funds to further process USDA chicken, which is a bonus, for the school nutrition program. We can vote on those as a block. If there's any specific ones you'd like pulled out, we can do that.
Move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion is second that we accept the consent agenda as presented. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Next, we move on to action agendas. Approval to purchase IXL for math and English language arts for grades K-12. We have Ms. Milman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm asking for approval of the purchase of IXL for math and English language arts. This is a web-based educational tool that allows students to put math and English language arts into practice. Students can take on challenges that help them master the skills necessary to perform up to the standards of learning and beyond by logging into the program on iPads and computers. Teachers are able to generate individual reports for students to target areas of weaknesses and to add enrichment. This tool can be used in the areas of language arts, K-12, math, K-8, Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2, and calculus. The estimated fiscal impact is estimated at $42,950.
Anyone have any questions? Will entertain a motion?
I move for approval of this request regarding the IXL Math and English Language Arts Program.
Second.
It's been motion and second to approve the purchase of IXL for math and English language arts for grades K through 12. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Next item we have is approval to purchase computers and accessories. Mrs. Atkins.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Currently, Henry County Public Schools utilizes Apple products for students, teachers, and administrative devices. Throughout the year, the technology department may need to purchase additional devices, replacement devices, and accessories in order to ensure that students and staff have the technology needed for instruction. It is recommended that the school board approve the purchase of Apple devices and accessory, a sole-sourced purchase. The estimated fiscal impact would be $100,000 or up to $100,000 from the fiscal year 2018 technology budget.
Are there any questions, comments? We entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
The motion is second to approve purchase of computers and accessories. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous, thank you. We move on to item C, approval of sick leave bank advisory board members for FY 2017-2018 school year. Ms. Landon.
In 2004, the Henry County School Board did approve the establishment of a sick leave bank for full-time licensed employees. It also approved 7 positions from which individuals would be recommended as a sick leave bank advisory board. The school board will appoint the advisory board members with the exception of the Henry County Education Association representative, and it is the responsibility of the HCEA to appoint their representative. For the 2017-2018 school year, we are recommending the following individuals to represent as members on the advisory board. For central office, Mrs. Lisa Milner. As elementary teacher, Ms. Sherelle Hodge. Middle school teacher, Mr. Brian Stowe. Elementary principal, Mrs. Judy Edmonds. Secondary principal, Mr. Charles Bird. And superintendent's designee, Mrs. Sandy Strayer. And the 7th sick leave bank advisory board member is appointed by the HCEA, and HCEA has appointed Ms. Mary Compson. At this time, it is recommended that the school board approve names submitted for the sick leave bank advisory board for the 2017-18 school year.
Move we approve the advisory board recommendations.
Second. The motion is second that we approve the advisory board sick leave recommendation. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your right hand.
Quick question, this is a good thing. How much is this utilized?
In the 4 years that I've been here, it was not utilized at all during the first 2 years, and I think it's been utilized 3 times in the last 2 years. I do have some requests that are pending right now, waiting for the establishment of the board for this year.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Landon. Next, we have item D, annual review of crisis plan 2017-2018.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. In accordance with the Code of Virginia, local school boards are required to annually review the written school crisis, emergency manual, and medical emergency response plans for each school division. As you know, we have a crisis plan for our entire school division. The superintendent shall certify in writing the review has taken place no later than August 31st of each year to the Virginia Center for School Safety. We're pleased to say there are no changes to our crisis manual this year. I think the same plan that you saw last year. I think you've received a copy as well for this year. So it's recommended that the board declare the required crisis plan review complete. I think it's important to note too that anytime we do have an incident, Dr. Cotton pulls us together and we do a debrief on how our review, how our plan for that particular incident worked, and we all sit down to see if any changes are required to the manual as we do that debrief. And it's really worked out well for us to look and see where our improvements need to take place.
Move for approval of the crisis plan for 2017-18.
Second.
The motion is second to approve the annual review of Chrysler Plan 2017-2018. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Unanimous. Next, we have item E, approval of recommendation to name school facilities. Ms. Sanders, Claire.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Per the school board request, a committee was formed to explore naming facilities for two former educators. After much discussion, the facilities naming committee agreed to officially name the track at George Washington Carver Elementary after Mr. Samuel Trott. Mr. Trott served Henry County Schools as a teacher, a coach, and an assistant principal. He supported students, he loved athletics, and his community dearly. To honor and recognize Mr. Trott, a sign will be placed at the entrance of the track denoting the Samuel Trott track. Currently, there is a bronze marker at the track as well. Additionally, the facilities naming committee decided that Ms. Betsy Maddox, who served Henry County Schools as a teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, and school board member, should be honored and recognized as well. Ms. Maddox was a lifelong supporter of Henry County Public Schools fine arts programs, and Bassett High School held a special place in her heart. Therefore, it has been decided to place a plaque and a photograph of Mrs. Maddox at the entrance of the Bassett High School Fine Arts Wing in honor, recognition, and memory of Ms. Betsy Maddox. It is recommended that the school board approve the naming of the G.W. Carver Elementary School track in recognition of Samuel Trott and naming the Fine Arts Wing at Bassett High School in recognition of Ms. Maddox. The committee did decide to limit the cost of the recognition to $1,000 per recognition for each individual. Do you have any questions?
No questions or comments?
I just comment that it's very appropriate for these two people to be recognized from this day forward at those two locations for the service that they provided to the students and the communities in Henry County from which they came.
I'd add a big amen to Dr. Duvall. I want to thank the committee for their diligence.
Will entertain a motion.
Move for approval of this recommendation from the naming committee.
Second. There's been a motion second to approve the recommendation of the names for school facilities as presented. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have item F, approval of proposed FY 2019 budget development calendar and activities. We have Ms. Lawson.
Yes. The proposed budget development calendar is being recommended to ensure the input of appropriate personnel and community members into the budget for the 2018-19 school year, as well as set the timeline set by the Virginia Code. It's recommended that the budget development calendar and associated activities be considered.
Well, I looked at it pretty close, and a couple of the things at the end are tentative, but things in the beginning are appropriate in my opinion. I move we approve the proposed fiscal 2019 budget development calendar.
Second.
The motion is second that we approve the proposed FY 2019 budget development calendar and activities. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Thank you. Next item we have is superintendent report. First being back to school report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I have our back to school report that we'd like to present in August, as we are starting school in just a few days. Our students start Wednesday of next week, August 9th. The first item is learning on vacation. Many of our schools host learning enrichment events throughout the summer. Axton Elementary held their annual summer reading day on July 19th. At the event, students read aloud the story, If I Built a House, and practiced reading strategies that parents can implement at home. After the story, the students were then able to complete different activities with their family based on what they read. Students and families were also able to build their own creative house using Legos, and each student who attended received a bag filled with 9 books, a journal, and pencils. Making a list and checking it twice. Members of the curriculum and instruction team have been working to ensure that each school has the textbooks and supplies necessary for engaging learning experiences this school year. Adding to the toolbox, a group of elementary and middle school teachers forfeited a week of summer vacation to attend the Apple Teacher Academy this summer. They raved about all the instructional tools they learned to use effectively and how they plan to implement them with students this fall. Code word robots. Instruction team members have also been preparing Lego robots coding kits for use by students in the elementary and middle schools this fall. Enrolled and ready. To ensure that each student begins the school year with the current information in our system, teams have been working to host InfoSnap nights around the division. As of today, 73% of families have updated their student enrollment information, and we want to get as close to 100 as possible before school starts. Collaborative planning. Department leaders have spent the summer collaborating to devise best methods of support for our schools. Instructional team members worked closely with technology partners to ensure complementary practices, and curriculum coordinators continue to collaborate to develop opportunities for interdisciplinary study at all levels. Find a buddy. The communications staff has been working this summer to promote the buddy system in our schools by recruiting volunteers in the school community. Many schools will have reading and lunch buddies this fall, thanks to our friends at Public Safety, the Martinsville Lions Club, Kings Grant, and Drury Mason High School class of 1954, and individuals who have agreed to serve as role models for our students. Setting the path. Transportation office staff have worked diligently to ensure efficient routing so students can be picked up and delivered home safely each day. The wheels on the bus. Bus mechanics have spent the summer inspecting buses and maintaining vehicles and trip cars, completing repairs on an as-needed basis. Every bus in Henry County Public Schools fleet has been washed and cleaned for a fresh start each school year. Devices at the ready. Technology department received training this summer to learn new methods to quickly and efficiently deploy iPads and laptops. The hardest and longest job is now putting them in their sturdy cases so that we can protect these devices. And we've committed to making sure all teachers and students have devices ready day one from the start of the school year. That's why technology is so tired, right? Interactive presentations. New 70-inch active panels have been installed to replace broken smart boards and to award new teachers that have completed grants in the high schools. Teachers will receive training on the new devices this week as they prepare for the first day of school. It's in stock. Technicians have both bar-coded devices to ensure that the division's inventory is up to date and deployed devices to administrators and elementary teachers this summer, ensuring that the tools available for guiding student progress are current and up to date. And that was one of our initiatives this summer. All of our devices are now on our inventory system, and that's important because we know where everything is and we know when things need to be updated as they go out of date. Training for maximum success. Bus drivers, school nurses, substitute teachers, and cafeteria staff members all attended training sessions for supporting student learning this summer. Additionally, members of the senior leadership team hosted a boot camp for administrators desiring updates and additional information as they prepare to lead their staff and students to new heights in the coming year. Polished and ready. Service Solutions, our custodial team, logged many hours stripping and waxing all classrooms, hallways, and common areas, along with completing a detailed cleaning of each building so the students and staff are welcome to a clean environment at the start of the school year. Clearing the air. Our new preventative maintenance technician hit the ground running by organizing the air filtration inventory in preparation for the HVAC technicians and custodians to change all filters during the summer. Open for business. The facilities maintenance team has renovated 3 classrooms at the Center for Community Learning to prepare for the new cosmetology class location. This project is creating a new and exciting learning environment for our students interested in learning this career and will allow this department to be run like a business. So I invite all of you to get your hair cut at the new cosmetology business at CCL. Of course, everybody, I say that and everybody says me first, so I need to go first.
Walker's grinning at you.
Efficiency upgrade. Bassett High School is undergoing Phase 4 renovations to include all new HVAC, ceiling, and lighting in the D&E areas of the building. We're also fortunate enough to renovate 12 restrooms with this phase. updating tile and fixtures to give these areas a more modern look. 6 of the restrooms were completed during the summer, and the other 6 will be completed during the first month of school. And I went by there yesterday, and the lighting really makes a difference, and the bathrooms look great. So hopefully you get a chance to see that. Stop for safety. Despite the many projects that are taking place in a short period of time during the summer, the maintenance team worked to make sure safety is a priority, as well as when the entire team went through CPR and first aid training with our team of school nurses. And we've been committed to making sure that all staff are trained in CPR. Welcome aboard. Human Resources staff has been working diligently this summer to assist in staffing schools and departments for the start of the new school year. HR representatives have worked with more than 90 new employees and nearly 50 transfers within the school division. HCPS Pride, we are so pleased to have you get to know each of our new educators as you visit schools this year, and would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to some of them who just joined us at new teacher orientation in July, and Mr. Milner and I formally greeted them to Henry County Public Schools. We welcomed 21 new elementary teachers. That's a big group. We also welcomed 13 new middle school educators, 9 of whom are pictured here, and we also welcomed 20 new high school educators and look forward to collaborating with them to support our students' learning goals this year. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, this does complete my back to school report. We do like to share with you all the work that happens over the summer, because the summer is extremely busy for all of us preparing for the upcoming school year, and we have other items in my section that I'll be glad to answer questions about if you have any at this time.
Any questions? On lunch buddies, what is required of the lunch buddy as far as clearance? My understanding is just the driver's license. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. We will be promoting with the community for 100 free volunteer background checks for those who are interested in being more extensive as far as going into the classroom, reading with individual students. But to be a lunch buddy or a reading buddy, all someone needs to do is to connect with me or with the school principal. They get their driver's license scanned when they go into the building. They do have to pay for their lunch, but all we ask of them is that they go and join a group of students for lunch. It can be a different group of students every time they attend, or they can select a group that they want to visit with on a regular basis.
Thank you. Any questions on the superintendent's and expenditures through June 30, 2017, or energy and facilities report, or fundraisers approved by the superintendent? Okay. Move on to item 8, matters from the board. I would like to, on behalf of the school board, extend condolences to Dr. Stombarg on the death of his father. And it's really encouraging to see you here today. We move on into meeting reminder dates. First we have meetings and events. The first one will be the first day of school, which has already been mentioned, August the 9th. August the 12th, Fall Family Summit at the Smith River Sports Complex. September the 4th, Labor Day holiday. The 7th will be our monthly meeting for September, and our meeting for October will be October the 5th. And on conferences, we have the VSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference on September the 8th in Charlottesville. And we also have the VSBA Annual Convention on November the 15th to 17th. It's encouraging that all of you have signed up. We look forward to representing Henry County well at that event. This time we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss item A, Code 2.2-3711, paren A, paren 1 of the Code of Virginia, appointment and separation of personnel, and item B, Code 2.2-3711, paren A, paren 2 of the Code of Virginia, Student Matters.
So move.
Second.
The motion is second that we go into closed session to discuss the aforementioned items. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. This time I entertain a motion to return to regular session.
So move.
Second.
The motion is second that we return to regular session. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. At this time, we'll have certification.
Whereas the school board of Henry County has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section 2.2-3712.3 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting is conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of Henry County hereby certifies that to the best of its knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Mr. Alker?
Yes.
Dr. DeValle?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Milner?
Yes.
Dr. Stanbaugh?
Yes.
And Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Okay, we have three motions coming out of closed session. The first one is special placement approval. Dr. DeValle.
Move that the recommendations of the Special Placement Committee be approved as presented.
Second.
The motion is second that we approve the special placement of recommendation. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Second we have is religious exemption. Mr. Martin.
In student case number RE 18-04 and -05, I move that the students be released from compulsory attendance under 22.1-254B.1 of the Code of Virginia based on the affidavit or declaration submitted to the school board.
Second.
The motion is second that we approve the religious exemptions as presented. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Last, we have personnel report. Mr. Zier.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the personnel report as presented.
As amended, they added an in.
As amended.
Second.
The motion is second that we approve the personnel report as amended. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. And I know you don't want to, but I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second that we adjourn. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. This meeting is closed.
You're quick on the draw.